What's going on, YouTube? It is a trusty cat here with a new video streaming. This is a live video, but I try and set it up to be a video for you guys. So we're reacting to YouTubers channels. They abandoned their channels for disturbing reasons. Let's go.
Elliot Eastman was a 26-year-old man from Vermont, USA. He spent most of his early years in the tiny town of Heinsberg.
Oh, it's low. It's low.
Life there was calm and peaceful, but with a population of less than 600 residents, it was also quite boring. Elliot wanted to do something more with his life. So, with his love for nature and exploration in mind, he saved up some money and traveled to the Philippines near the end of 2023. He wanted to slowly make his way through the entire country and witness its beauty firsthand. But just a couple months into his trip, he met a local woman named Carisha Jayla. The two started dating and got married just a few months after that, in July of 2023. Then, in January 2024, Elliot started posting videos on YouTube documenting his life in the Philippines with his wife. His videos were simple, without any over-the-top
What's up,
music
lithium
or crazy
batteries?
editing effects, but they felt authentic and real, allowing him to amass a small but dedicated fan base. Though his content took a massive...
He got 7.6 thousand? About to eat 4 glizzies? Alright, you're banned. Nah, I'm kidding.
Shift
Honestly,
in May 2024 when he decided to move to the beachside village his wife was from in the Cebuco
Hey, buns or no buns? Hey, thanks for liking live, lithium batteries.
municipality. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before this spiraled into the worst decision he'd ever make.
Wait, what?
You see, Cebuco is part of what's known as the Red Zone in the Philippines. Put simply, this is the most dangerous section of the country, especially for foreigners. Armed robberies, kidnappings, and even murders are not uncommon in this region, with over 40 Westerners going missing there in just the last decade. However, Elliot was well aware of this fact, as evident from his channel's description, which read, "I'm Elliot Eastman. I am 26 years old and I came to the Philippines about a year and a half ago, where I met the love of my life deep in the mountains of the Red Zone of the Philippines. I will be showing you my day-to-day life as the first and only foreigner to have ever lived here in Cebuco for a long period of time." He mentioned the danger in some of his video titles as well. But despite the threat to his life, he still wanted to build a life in Cebuco. So he rented an apartment and even built his own grocery shop.
That is insane. What's up, that big?
All while documenting the entirety of his journey on YouTube. Now, there were times when he felt threatened and had to hide from some locals to avoid getting in serious trouble. But despite the somewhat dire circumstances, Elliot was enjoying his time in Cebuco and slowly building the life he wanted. However, just when things were starting to look up
I
for
didn't even know the
Elliot,
Philippines was...
tragedy struck.
What?
The incident took place on the night of October 17th, 2024, when, after doing several short live streams throughout the day, Elliot went offline and sat for dinner with his wife and her parents. But then, a few minutes later, 4 men with guns barged into their home and started telling Elliot to go outside. These men were also wearing outfits similar to those of the Filipino police, likely in hopes of making Elliot more cooperative. Elliot, however, saw through their disguise and tried to run away. Unfortunately, that's when things went from bad to worse. One of them opened fire and ended up shooting Elliot twice, once in the leg and once in the abdomen. They then dragged him onto the speedboat they had docked near their home and sped off into the darkness. This was the last time anyone saw Elliot alive. By the time the police launched a search and rescue mission, the kidnapper's boat was nowhere to be found. The investigation then...
Oh, they're playing... I'm sorry, y'all, but what?
Went on for nearly a month until the 12th of November. But when the police eventually located the kidnappers, they were forced into a shootout, resulting in 3 of the 4 culprits losing their lives. And while they did manage to arrest the last kidnapper, it was already too late. According to the kidnapper, Elliot succumbed to his injuries when he was on the speedboat. So the kidnappers simply threw his body overboard to hide the primary evidence of their crime. Unfortunately, the police were unable to locate his remains and pronounced him officially dead in December of 2024. However, one question still remained unanswered. Why? Why did these 4 criminals target Elliot? Well, the simplest explanation is also the most likely one. They just wanted to kidnap him for ransom. Carisha even had a first-hand experience with this, as back in high school, one of her Canadian classmates was kidnapped and held for a ransom of $50,000 US. That's...
Yo, I'm back. What happened to the 1 out of 6 food stuff? Bro, he just came back. YouTube doesn't know this, but I started stream by my cat just walked in and opened my door wide open. Let me just close this. Oh my goodness. She ran out second I tried to turn it. But I start off stream sometimes with just rating food 1 out of 6. I'm sure you see many other streamers who do that, but like, he just came back, and this is what we're doing. This is what I normally do. Great VR. Low key, y'all. Do y'all think she had something to do with it? Be honest. Be honest. Do y'all think she had something to do with it? Cause this happened to her once before. Y'all really think that's just cause she lives in the red zone? She lives in that zone that's dangerous, bro. Nah? Really? Really? Nothing to do with it. That's crazy.
Said there's also a second.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like you're right. Probably at the end of the day, I don't know what's like over there. What's up, Sunny Square? But I don't know. What's up, Mike Belt? Might have been working with them. Yeah, I low-key feel like... I mean, he said they were married for like years, though, right? So, I mean, it wasn't like a setup, per se. But you never know if she wanted to get out of the marriage, and that's what they do and stuff like that. I don't know.
Experience
I don't
with
think
this,
so.
as back in high school, one of her Canadian classmates
up.
was kidnapped and held for a ransom of $50,000.
Oh, it's her.
That
It was
said,
a
there's also
classmate.
a second potential explanation that has to do with Elliot's side business. You see, while operating his grocery store, Elliot also started lending the locals money for 20% interest. A local loan shark likely saw him as a competitor and sought to eliminate Elliot before he took away any more of his business.
20%
This would also
interest?
explain why the intruders were so quick to open fire if they wanted to hold him for ransom.
They
Regardless
probably
of
thought
their
he had
motive,
money.
the end result.
Okay, so you just straight up make bad businesses out there. That's not cool.
Was the loss of
I just fell down the stairs.
a young man trying to make a life for himself with his wife in a foreign land. His YouTube channel now sits abandoned, with its many uploads remaining as proof as the life he once lived.
What is that thumbnail? What is that thumbnail, y'all? Why are you laughing at me? You smirking?
Benjamin Pardoon, known online
I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna say, what does that got to do with me when you said that?
as Warner the Goobermeister, was a comedian.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Benjamin Pardoon, known online as Warner the Goobermeister, was a
Do you guys know him as Warner the Goobermeister?
Benjamin Pardoon, known online as Warner the Goobermeister, was a comedian creator on YouTube who primarily focused on creating a genre of memes known as...
I could already tell that this is a disturbed individual. I could already tell that this is a disturbed individual. I'm so sorry. What's up, Oakley? That's what I'm going to call you from now on. Let's go to this channel. Yeah, you're going to go to Goobermeister? I have a feeling that he's no longer doing his content. Intro Japanese?
which is a subgenre of online humor that revolves around taking clips from other shows, usually cartoons, and editing them to have a bizarre, often nonsensical tone. Over time, Benjamin's channel had amassed over 8.7 million views, making him a...
Oh, I'm trying too hard. Guys, I'm trying too hard.
a well-known name in the YTP community.
Only 234 videos and he got 8.7 million views. Oh, I'm trying too hard, y'all.
But after his upload on December 21st,
I'm doing too much.
he suddenly vanished from the internet, leaving his fans wondering what could have happened.
Oh no! Warner the Goobermeister hasn't posted in 3 months! I was just impersonating his fans 3 months after he disappeared. I hope he's alright, y'all, just saying.
Unfortunately, the reason for his disappearance was far more tragic than simply getting bored and moving on from the channel, as most of his audience had assumed. The incident took place on the 27th of January 2022,
Please don't tell me this is him.
when his older brother Chris tried to contact him many times but didn't hear back. Left with no other option, Chris called the police at around 8 p.m. to check on his parents and little brother. When the
There's no way he filmed that.
officers arrived at his house, the lights were on, but no one was answering the door. After repeated knocks, the officers knew something was off, so they decided to break in. But nothing could have prepared them for the horrific scene they saw behind that door. Inside, they found the bodies of Benjamin and his parents, all with visible gunshot.
He was a child? Oh, I guess that makes sense. Don't say that. Your live streams keep me captivated enough not to wonder what slime tastes like. What? What? What on earth was that comment? Bro, what was that comment? I'm sorry, the timing of that comment is just so heinous. Bro, this is bad. Wait, he was a little kid making videos like that?
Wounds.
How did he even make those videos?
However, what looked like a robbery gone wrong turned out to be far more tragic. According to the investigation, both Benjamin and his mother Deborah were shot by his father that evening, who, after committing the crime, decided to end things for himself as well. The news of this incident was a massive shock for Benjamin's viewers, as he'd never mentioned any family troubles before. Chris later set up a GoFundMe.
Wait, how do they even know it's him? He's never in the videos. That's so sad. Wait, this young of a kid was making videos like that? Is that really who makes those like nonsensical, disturbing SpongeBob stuff? Man,
Page in November of 20.
What is this? What is this for though? There's no family left.
2022, which not only allowed Benjamin's fans to support the only living member of his family, it also gave some insight into what might have happened.
Who's alive?
According to Chris, Benjamin was born in 2005
Oh, his older brother.
and was soon diagnosed with autism. This made it difficult for him to interact with people in person. Because of this, he was homeschooled, and at just 8 years old, he started
I was homeschooled.
uploading on YouTube.
Have any of y'all ever ate lotion?
Hoping to make friends
I'm gonna pin that real quick.
and find a sense
I'm just gonna pin that because he found it necessary to ask that question right now. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I have a strong feeling that this channel has nothing to do with that kid. That's a super sad story, but I have a really big suspicion that this channel has nothing to do with that kid. That kid was probably... I wouldn't be surprised. Like, what is this? Oh, like, wait, how would he even be old enough? Oh, 11 years ago.
community. Sadly, Benjamin's condition was far from the only challenge their family had to face. Deborah was also suffering from nerve damage after an accident, and the father Gregory had also gotten in a car accident in the past and could barely walk. On top of that, the family was also struggling with severe financial issues, which could explain why Gregory felt the need to take such a drastic measure, seemingly out of nowhere, as Chris
What's funny, bro? I think I meant to answer that earlier. I was not laughing at the autistic kid, by the way. That's not what I was laughing at. Just want to say that for the record. The question about lotion was duly misplaced.
My dad was a proud man. He was ashamed to ask or seek out help. Although Benjamin's content was somewhat niche, it left a big impact on those who came across it, with some even uploading new videos in his style to keep his memory alive.
All right, y'all. I think we gotta check out what. You know what? No,
With some even upload.
Let's not do that. I want to cry, but my curious mind won't let me. I know, right? What do you mean, cat?
Charlie Dilly was a YouTube channel run by a 14-year-old teenager.
All right, I'm gonna be honest, y'all. I was laughing. I'm not gonna lie. I was laughing by the fact that I made so many jokes, and then it turned into like the darkest story I've ever heard in my life. Like, that is so sad. It's unbelievable. And I was literally like, when I saw the channel, which he did not lead with that, okay? If you go back, if YouTube can go back, he did not lead with the fact that this was run by a child, okay? When I saw the content, I was like, anyway,
from Ohio,
go to the channel. No.
With the same name.
We're going to let Warner rest in peace.
He created the channel in 2013.
Wait,
14-year-old teenager from Ohio with the same name. He created the
That is one aggressive smile.
YouTube channel run by a 14-year-old teenager.
Y'all remember doing this, y'all?
Ohio with
when you like forced a smile and you just like straight up don't know how to smile? but they just expect you to smile some way. So you do this. Bro, his earlobes are going the other way. They look like they're trying to jump off his head. I'm not saying that to be rude. I'm just saying that's crazy. My smile is chopped. My smile's chopped too.
Same name.
They did him wrong with the graininess of this. It looks like he has dandruff.
He created the channel in 2013 to share his love of gaming, specifically the sports game Madden, with others. He also uploaded vlogs on YouTube, where he talked about anything that was on his mind that day.
Bro, y'all remember when kids were just so able to do this stuff, and we had none of this? Like, it makes it so much easier to have the equipment I have now. But like, I can't imagine doing it back then.
But for
I mean, most of the stuff there wasn't a lot of effort with, but I'm just saying.
Harley himself, these were more than just videos. They were one of the many forms of escape he had from his troubled life. You see, Harley suffered from oppositional defiant disorder and was also diagnosed with high-functioning autism. This resulted in him getting into heated arguments with his parents quite often and subsequently ending up in a worse situation.
By the way, that's a fake disorder, just want to say. Not the autism part. It's just a disorder that we put on kids who just don't get in line, brother. Back in my day, sounded Noah.
One instance, he even posted a video talking about how he was locked out of the house after an argument with his mother, titled, "I'm Scared."
Hey guys, what's up? It is Harley Dilly. Probably one.
Wait. That's not the channel name that he just said, didn't he? Didn't they say his name was something?
Hey guys, what's up? It is Harley Dilly.
Yeah, his name is Harley Dilly.
Probably one of my worst days in my life. I was at school and I was science test. I finished it and my computer says 1% battery left. So I get to the next class and I put it on charger as quick as possible, but it didn't charge. None of the computers would take a charge. So I took it back and I had to fill out a complaint, and that's one of the most expensive parts of the computer. And my mom said she's not paying anything. We argued for about a good 5 minutes. Then she snapped. She said she was gonna call the police, and she said she already did. And she locked me out of the house. So right now I'm outside. Yep, the house is locked. It is 3:30. I haven't ate anything, and I still haven't even got to get my work done. My mom's gone. She won't answer the phone.
There were also allegations of some of his family members being physically aggressive to him. But despite all this, Harley was still a cheerful kid who wanted nothing more than to play Madden and grow his YouTube channel. Unfortunately, this ambition was tragically cut short.
Locked outside is crazy. I don't know if we were locked outside as a kid, but like we have really hot summers over here. We have like 100 and something degree summers, and like my parents as a punishment would tell us to go outside, not during the summer on purpose, but sometimes it was the summer, so we used to have to go outside, also just to stop making so much noise in the house. We could come in though for water for the most part, but sometimes when they say that, like go outside, like we're not going to come right back in even though it's like 120 degrees. We just felt like we couldn't. But I don't know if they ever locked a door, to be honest.
Short on December 20th, 2019, when Harley went to school and never came back. The day had started off rough. Harley was still upset after arguing with his parents the night before, as they had refused to replace his broken smartphone. He also didn't want to go to school that day. But his mother Heather woke up early that day and, after some more arguing, convinced him to go. He left his house just before 7 a.m., but he was somehow absent from school and didn't return home that evening either. Harley had disappeared without a trace. Surprisingly, his family didn't report him missing until 11:50 p.m. on December 21st, nearly 43 hours after he vanished. Their explanation for the delay was simple. According to them, Harley had spent the night at friends' houses without telling them before, usually after an argument. They assumed this time was the same. However, they couldn't have been more wrong. Something that became increasingly clear as the police investigation.
He used to spend the night at friends' houses without telling them? Okay, so what made you not call the police the first time he did that? The first time he did that, what? You didn't think to call the police or call around and see which friend? Interesting.
dragged on for days without uncovering a single clue about his whereabouts. The only thing they found was this low-resolution picture of Harley going to school that was taken from a neighbor's security camera. And that was it.
That's the picture? What's good, unknown? That's the picture? That looks like one of those books. Y'all know those books? I don't think I got one right here. Y'all know those books where as you turn it, it looks like the guy's walking? That's what that looks like.
Eventually, many other organizations,
Miss
including
you, bro,
the FBI,
here from day one. Unknown, I'm sorry, dog. I think you changed your name or something. I know that you've been in here lately, but I don't remember who you were. I always got to get reminded. To be fair, think you have to wait 2 days to report a missing person. That's not true. It's Tyler? Oh, it's good, Tyler. Not bad. Dude, you keep changing your name. I never know. The one who you pranked. Yeah, I know who Tyler is. Dude, literally, do you need to wait 48 hours? What? No. To report a missing person. They tell you to do it immediately. No, you do not have to wait 24 to 48 hours to report a missing person. It's a myth. And law enforcement encourages you to report it immediately, dude. And those first few hours are absolutely critical for them locating them. Absolutely. This is why I'm grateful I have a family who cares. Yeah, that's so real, y'all. At the end of the day, even if you got a harsh upbringing, better have a family who cares, man. Stick together. I said people do think that, not that I do. Oh, yeah, no, that's valid. No, it's very valid, bro. Just so y'all know, you never wait to report a person missing. Never wait, even if you think it's going to be potentially an exaggeration. Jaw hurts from boxing the friend you called the short one. Oh, yeah?
We're County 911. Hey, this is Jesse at American.
Try not to spam, Tyler.
We were just robbed. Do you know who?
Oh, whoops.
Joined the search as well.
Sorry,
he also
YouTube.
distributed his missing posters nationwide and offered an $18,000 reward, hoping to receive any information that could lead them in the right
Did
direction.
they find him?
Unfortunately, although they received numerous tips, none led to any significant progress in the case. That is until the 13th of January, over 23 days after Harley went missing, when the investigators made the big discovery. They were recanvassing the area immediately surrounding Harley's home when one of the investigators decided to check out the vacant house directly across from the Dilly residence.
I know him? This guy?
was a summer home.
What? There's no way you know him.
And was fully locked at the time. There was also no indications of anyone breaking into the home. However, the investigators had looked everywhere else to no avail. This was one of their last options. So they acquired the key to this home and started looking around. They didn't find anything on the ground floor. But as soon as they climbed the stairs, one of them noticed a maroon puffer jacket lying on the ground, the same jacket that Harley was wearing on the morning of his disappearance.
What?
As they got closer, they also noticed his glasses lying on the floor as well. But there were no signs of Harley anywhere. Both the glasses and the jacket had also collected plenty of dirt, indicating that they must have been there for a long time. While they were looking around, one of the investigators noticed the chimney vent above where his glasses and jacket were discovered. This sort of vent is used to connect traditional wood-burning heaters. Curious to see what was in it, he reached into the hole, only for his hand to touch human hair on the other side. There was no doubt about it. That was Harley, stuck in the chimney. Officers quickly dismantled the wall, and sure enough, they found Harley's body inside, with his arms raised above his head. A later autopsy concluded that he likely passed away the day he went missing. His particular position at the time of discovery also helped investigators piece together what might have happened that day. As the story goes, Harley didn't want to go to school that day, so he decided to spend the time at the vacant home until the afternoon to make it seem like he went to school. But when he couldn't find a way in from the ground floor, he climbed onto the roof using the antenna tower beside the house. From there, he looked into the chimney and saw a relatively short drop and chose to climb down it to enter the house. However, what he failed to realize was that this chimney didn't lead to a spacious fireplace. Instead, it only connected to a couple of small vents for heater exhausts, leaving him stuck at the bottom. Due to the way he climbed down, his jacket was likely halfway removed already. So he pushed it through the vent to free up some space, and his glasses fell through as well. Sadly, there was nothing else he could do in that position. His chest was pressed tightly against the chimney's wall, making it impossible to breathe, resulting in him slowly succumbing to asphyxiation. Put simply, this was nothing more than a tragic accident. Now, given this conclusion, Harley's case should have ended there. However, some people, especially as YouTube viewers, weren't satisfied with the official report. Many of them believed that this wasn't an accident at all. Rumors started going around the internet that Harley's death was actually a murder committed by his own family. One of the first big points of contention was his jacket, since in one of the evidence images it could be seen hanging from the door. These critics claimed that this was proof of the whole story being a lie. Some also argued that the shoes he was wearing in his last picture didn't match the ones the investigators found on him. However, despite the skepticism, the police stuck with their initial report. As for the jacket issue, that turned out to be nothing more than the result of one of the inexperienced investigators mistakenly moving key evidence. That said, whatever the truth may be, it doesn't change the fact that the YouTube community lost a genuine and passionate creator.
Man, that's a sad way to go. Stuck in that thing. Man. That's super sad, brother. I didn't know this was going to be so sad.
Nicholas Sonderegger was a
I'm baking cookies, but the story is depressing. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't know this was going to be so sad. It said for disturbing reasons. I didn't think it meant that. I thought they meant like they were serial killers or something. Or I don't know. Well, that's still sad. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, like, I didn't realize it was going to be just sad. Or, like, I thought it was going to be some crime or something like that.
8-year-old YouTuber who loved two things in life, longboarding and dancing. He uploaded nearly 80 videos of himself doing both of these on his channel named Sunspeak. Though his ultimate dream was to become a professional dancer.
His ultimate dream was to do both at the same time. I can't be sad right now because I'm eating Tex.
2017, he was living in San Diego with his friend Austin to try and make his dream come true. However,
that's their house.
The two were completely broke and couldn't afford California's high rent prices. So, with no other option, the two decided to live in tents or random trailers they could find in the Salton Sea area. Salton Sea used to be a popular tourist.
I turned on the lights now because I'm kind of scared because I just explored an abandoned house. Oh, you did? That's insane. Insane and insanely dangerous, so be careful of that, man.
This destination at one point.
I've never been to an abandoned place, bro. I don't think I've ever been to an abandoned place. Other than, like, I did it for work, y'all. I actually did do it for work. I'm actually kind of lying about that. It's not. I'm not abandoned, but, like, I guess you would consider abandoned. What is a kidnapper's favorite shoe? I don't know, man. White Vans. Okay. Now I feel like a ghost followed me home.
Due to its status.
Yeah, sure. That's what happened. Ooh.
As an oasis in the middle of the desert. But the water and the surrounding area became extremely toxic over time, turning it into a complete ghost town.
What?
On the flip side, this also made living there essentially free, which is what Nick and Austin were after. But what neither of them knew at the time was that the true danger of Salton Sea had nothing to do with its toxic climate.
Marina.
This danger came face to face with the two on the night of September 9th, 2018 at around 2 a.m. They were asleep in their tent when suddenly they were jolted awake by an extremely loud scream coming from the tree line not far from their camp. Fearing for their safety, they decided to just ignore it altogether and go back to sleep. Or that's at least what Austin thought. For some unknown reason, Nick later decided to go investigate the scream on his own after Austin had fallen back asleep. By the time Austin woke up the next morning, Nick was gone. He tried looking around for his longtime friend around town and discovered his flashlight lying on the ground just a block away from their tent. He immediately contacted the police and reported Nick as missing, who began looking for him almost immediately. But all they found was one of his boots, his pants, and his knife sleeve. His other boot, as well as his wallet and keys, were missing.
What?
More importantly, Nick himself was nowhere to be found. What made the situation even more bizarre was what happened days later. Austin returned to the same area he had already searched, but this time he found Nick's shirt and hat lying there, items that weren't there before. In other words, someone had likely placed them in that spot later. Sadly, the identity of this person was never uncovered, leaving Nick's case a complete mystery to this day. Nick's family has set up a website with all the information they have. They've also announced a $10,000 reward for any useful information. But despite these efforts, the case has remained cold. In fact, there are so few clues that I wasn't even able to find any solid theories either. Some have speculated that Austin might have killed Nick. and hidden his body. However, the
So it
police
was the noise.
investigation uncovered no evidence of foul play. There's still a chance that some unexpected discovery would crack this case wide open. But until then, Nick's disappearance remains an
Why
unsolved
would his
mystery, and his
belongings-
YouTube channel remains abandoned.
Why would his belongings just randomly appear there? Why would that happen, y'all? He went missing just like that, not a drop of evidence. Sounds like they didn't investigate it
Since
much, y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not reading all that. What is this?
The "Oh that's real nice" meme comes from an episode of the cartoon SpongeBob SquarePants, where Martin, a side character in the show, looks into a toilet bowl only to find a realistic-looking SpongeBob floating inside. The moment itself tied into the overall plot of that episode, but the meme that came out of it was meant to contrast someone doing an ordinary task like going to the toilet or clocking in at work with an unusual or disturbing discovery. And while most of the posts mentioned completely fictional events, a few instances of the meme format referenced real events that actually happened. This particular incident took place at the Bethlehem wastewater treatment plant on
What?
January
What's
7,
up, Chosen?
2000. A worker named Scott Batchman had clocked into his night shift at around 11 p.m. when he noticed a pink, fleshy object while cleaning out a catch basin. He took it out and rinsed it off to get a clearer look. However, nothing could have prepared him for what that object turned out to be.
What's a catch basin? Or a cache basin? Is it like where water and everything ends up?
Scott was holding one half of a human brain in his hand. It was a bit difficult to identify, but Scott's past work experience at a coroner's office allowed him to confirm that it was real and not a prop. He
worked
immediately
at a
contacted the
coroner's
authorities
office.
and handed it over to them. This discovery happened on a Friday night, so a proper analysis didn't happen until Monday. However, according to initial reports, the brain looked like it was fresh and had not been in the sewer system for very long. The situation became worse when it was sent over to a DNA lab for testing, which confirmed that it belonged to a person. Unfortunately, authorities had no matching DNA on record, making it impossible to determine whose brain it was. The
What?
treatment plant also received waste
What's
from
up, Mickey?
13 different municipalities, so they couldn't link it to a nearby missing person report either. The question now was, how did a piece of human brain end up in the sewer system in the first place? One possible explanation the authorities considered was that it came from a medical cadaver, suggesting that a medical student
What
might
did
have
I
flushed
just
it down the
witness
drain.
the first 5 seconds I came into this live stream? Yeah, you kind of came at a very interesting point.
Either on
I don't
purpose
know,
or
dude.
somehow by accident. However, the lack of any major decomposition pointed to a much darker possibility. The brain likely came from the victim of a homicide, with the killer attempting to destroy
Wait.
evidence by dismembering the body
They don't have a match? It's kind of insane. Maybe a Machina incident?
and flushing the pieces
Why does he
down
get to say the F word? Because he's on YouTube, I guess. I don't know, man.
the toilet one by one. And unfortunately, it seems their plan worked as intended.
I don't
The
know how to
investigators were never
moderate
able
that.
to link the discovery to any reported crimes.
Okay, but who made this meme, bro? Who made this meme? Like, this is not even, like, who knows this? The fact that any joke or statement can be based off a real tragedy is crazy. But, like, what if this happened? Someone, like, very specifically made this meme, and, like, we're supposed to know it. They probably just left it in the comments
leaving the
section.
case an unsolved mystery to this
On
day.
somewhere you could put it. Sorry, Mickey, you came into a rough one. You serve
The
yourself a glass of
traumatized
milk?
Mr. Incredible meme depicts a normal-looking Mr. Incredible next to a haunting, uncanny version of him. The template uses a before and after format to highlight how hidden context changes a person's perspective, where people who don't know see a surface-level image or phrase and remain blissfully ignorant, represented by a smiling Mr. Incredible. In contrast, people who know understand the dark, tragic, or
up,
disturbing
Davison?
reality behind the subject,
GG's, yeah,
represented by his
GG's.
hollow-eyed, traumatized face. This specific version of the meme refers to a silent tragedy that occurred in
horror,
many
bro?
parts of
I don't
Mexico
know.
in the late 1980s.
Yeah, what is
and
this?
The cause for it originated over 7,000 miles or more than 11,000 kilometers away in Ukraine. On April 26, 1986, the Chernobyl nuclear plant suffered the worst nuclear disaster in history.
Okay.
During a botched
What does that have
safety
to do with
test, a
Mexico?
massive power surge caused Reactor 4 to explode, releasing a plume of radioactive fallout that drifted across Europe. The immediate blast killed 2 workers, while dozens more lost their lives to acute radiation sickness shortly after trying to contain the fallout. However, by the time they were able to enclose the malfunctioning reactor, it had already spread massive clouds of toxic, radioactive particles across Europe and Asia. Mexico, in theory,
it
should have been
spread
far
that
enough from the
far?
disaster site to stay unaffected. In reality, government corruption and greed turned it into a problem that ordinary Mexicans were forced to live with in their day-to-day lives. You see, radioactive particles from the Chernobyl meltdown contaminated crops and livestock across Europe and Asia, making a significant portion of their food unsafe for consumption. Ireland was among the more heavily affected countries, with thousands of tons of milk in the region becoming radioactive. The Irish government tried to get rid of this contaminated milk by selling it to poorer countries. And after getting rejected by Brazil, they reached an agreement with the Mexican government to sell 40,000 tons of radioactive powdered milk at discounted prices.
Think about how close that is to us. Yeah. What in the world? Zavison, please stop saying that.
The toxic milk reached Mexico in June 1987 and was then distributed.
Bro, that's so horrible. They just went to sell it. That's so terrible.
Across the country by a state-owned company called Conasupo. It made its way into ordinary households where consumers had no idea they were drinking what was essentially poison.
Bro, I just watched another YouTube video about a 15-year-old who came to a gang and offed a boy who didn't even do anything to him. He was 13. That's terrible, dude. I've heard about stuff like that. People are wild, man. We just watched a video before this, Mickey, that was talking about YouTubers who went missing, or that like stopped posting, and like the disturbing reasons why they did it. It's like the reason. That's why my video is titled this way. You'll see it after. I'm posting this stream is gonna go up, so you can see it after. I think tomorrow or the next day. That sucks, dude. Why I'm expressing my gratitude for you, dude. Just stop calling me that. And also, I appreciate you, bro, but you gotta stop spamming. You gotta stop spamming.
Truth finally
brother.
came out when Navy Vice Admiral Manuel Rodriguez Gordillo commissioned a nuclear physicist to test the milk. And as it turned out, the milk the Mexican government bought from Ireland exceeded 10 times the permitted limits of radioactivity. The government initially tried to suppress the news by accusing the whistleblower.
What happens? A stepmom offed her 7-year-old son because he burned a carpet. Dude, that's so
defamation,
awful.
stripping them of their position and putting
do
them
that
in
to
prison.
children, man.
But the backlash got bad enough that the government was forced to issue a complete recall by January 1988. Unfortunately, the damage was already done. Over the following decade, the number of children suffering from cancer skyrocketed drastically. Many endured life-altering deformities, while countless others lost their lives because of it. Even those who survived the initial radiation poisoning now face a higher risk of developing cancer later in life.
Dude, that's so sad.
To me, it seems like January always starts the same.
Yeah, like milk of
New
all things
resolution.
too. Powdered milk too, which is like, what is it? Have y'all ever had powdered milk? Am I the only one who doesn't have powdered milk? I really feel it for the cry, bro. That's so sad. Yo, but powdered milk, what's the point of it? Like, milk is cheap.
New
I know it's not cheap for everybody, but like powdered milk, ugh.
projects and a packed schedule right out the gate.
Just
It can
sad.
feel like this
Still,
any
yeah,
time
man.
of the year, but usually especially so at the start. And if you're anything like me, it seems to always be my
Is this
health
an ad?
that's the first thing to get pushed aside when I get busy. Checkups get
That was an ad. That said, I've never had powdered milk, but I'm gonna cry. Bro, what is this? When I'm urban exploring in China and find an abandoned area that reeks of rotten flesh, and I consider taking back, but I persist.
The deeply unsettling Mr. Incredible meme illustrates a person's reaction to discovering something truly horrifying. The template is often paired with a caption highlighting disturbing events or shocking facts. And
an ad in a sad video is diabolical.
this particular use of it is no different. It summarizes the horrific sight a Chinese explorer named the Beanbag Adventures uncovered in February 2022. Beanbag's content on Douyin, which is the Chinese version of TikTok, revolved around him exploring abandoned buildings and showcasing any interesting finds. However, one of these adventures spiraled into a nightmare his viewers could have never imagined. The video started with
Wait, those were urns. Weren't those urns, y'all?
him entering an abandoned hospital or lab of some kind. It was extremely run down and appeared to have been vacant for over a decade, if not more. Broken furniture, torn clothes, and glass jars were everywhere. But what really caught Beanbag's attention weren't these items.
Wait. When did we start calling him Beanbag? I cannot believe the amount of courage people have to take other people's lives from their loving families in future generations that sometimes get ruined. Wait, what? I cannot believe the amount of courage? Courage sounds too positive. You mean I had administration? Zavison, what are you even talking about? Eating soft cookies fresh from the oven right now. Oh my goodness. Bro, I can eat the dough straight. Dude, I don't know, man.
He was more drawn to the overpowering smell that was filling the whole building.
I've been around my dad a lot.
Curious, he decided to find its source.
He
followed the paths where the smell grew stronger and eventually reached a strange, dilapidated
Zavison, why yesterday? I thought the salt thing happened 2 days ago.
Room with a pool in the middle of it. He looked inside the pool and before showing it to his viewers claimed that it was filled with movie props. The pool was filled with what looked like the remains of dozens of children floating in a mysterious liquid. He spent barely a minute inside this room before the smell became too unbearable and he had to run out gagging for air. The horrifying sight left most of his viewers in shock, with many also trying to figure out if any of it was real. But for now, many accepted his movie prop explanation and didn't question it further, especially since the alternative was far too gruesome for most to even contemplate. A lot of the remains also showed few signs of decomposition, making it easier to buy into the prop theory. However, the possibility of these remains being real became impossible to ignore when Beanbag returned to the same location 10 months later. This time he decided to explore the rest of the building before going back to the pool room. Unfortunately, the other locations proved to be just as disturbing.
Oh,
I can't show most of this on YouTube, but he discovered
Bro, I'm starting to think Beanbag's the one who put everything here.
Rooms full of extremely realistic human skeletons, children's toys and masks, and a few glass jars with what looked like human fetuses stored inside them. Things somehow got even worse when he returned to the pool room and found things that weren't there before, like glass jars and children's clothes on the ground, and most unsettling, a blue tarp partially covering the pool. This showed that someone else had been in that room in the last 10 months. But that wasn't even the worst part. The most disturbing part of Beanbag's second visit came when he pointed his camera at the pool. It not only contained more remains than before, but many of the previous ones were also noticeably more decomposed than last time, disproving his movie prop claim. Though, given what people now know about the situation, it seemed he called them movie props just so he could feign ignorance in case he ever got into trouble. It also helped in keeping the videos from getting removed from the platform. Put simply, Beanbag and now most of his audience suspected that this room was a part of an illegal organ harvesting operation known as a corpse factory. You see, China has one of the lowest organ donor rates in the world due to cultural reasons. Yet, despite this limitation, the process of actually getting an organ for a transplant is relatively easy.
This is so sad, bro, but this takes place in China so much more than people know. A lot of North Koreans, man, when they try and escape, they'll end up in China, and when they're caught, sometimes they'll just be harvested.
As long as you have the money.
Murdered and harvested. It's so sad.
That's because most of these organs are said to come from China's massive black market, where merchants illegally abduct victims to meet the demand. Some reports also claim that the Chinese government is somehow involved in this operation as well, with it allegedly harvesting from minority prisoners that aren't even on death row. Even if the government wasn't involved, Beanbag was putting a target on himself by possibly exposing such a large-scale criminal operation. So, acting clueless was his best bet. But even then, his safety wasn't guaranteed. Fans were worried about his well-being.
I'm not surprised that it's in China, no disrespect. Yeah, brother, just a lot of stuff. I just think that when it comes to like valuing human lives, for some reason that takes place in China a lot more than like they don't value human life as much as other countries do, for sure, man.
This concern became even more substantial when Beanbag's Douyin account got terminated out of nowhere shortly after posting the second video. Viewers believed that whoever Beanbag exposed was trying to silence him before the story could spread.
I feel like Beanbag is the crazy guy. She's so sick. Who's she?
further. Though, just as they were about to lose hope, Beanbag returned to the internet with new
It's not will we, but we will watch some happy stuff after, says the boss queen and myself.
videos. However, the 2 videos of him exploring the hospital were now deleted from his account. Beanbag also kept posting more videos exploring other abandoned buildings and never even brought up the hospital again. If someone was trying to silence him, wouldn't it be easier to make him disappear, or at the very least keep him off the internet
For
forever?
2 hours?
So, what's going on here?
What do
Well,
you mean
the
2
internet
hours?
has come up with many theories trying to solve this very question, but nearly all of them contain contradictions or details that don't align with the known facts. The most popular of these theories is that the room was used to discard victims after harvesting their organs. But here's the thing, if someone was actually running a massive criminal operation, wouldn't it be much safer for them to hide the evidence in mass graves or use industrial incinerators to cremate the remains? Especially if the Chinese government was involved, as many
Yeah, but he found a bunch of urns, man. He found a bunch of urns and they looked empty, or some of them looked empty. It was weird, brother.
suspect. As for his account getting temporarily banned, that could be explained by Doyen simply taking it down due to the excessive gore his videos showed, which is also why he was allowed to return after.
What do you mean taking it down? He got banned, brother. There's a difference in a ban and taking it down. Also, he probably got banned because he posted that online. You can't post that. I don't even think you can post it on a Chinese stuff. Dude, look at this.
Deleting those videos. Alternatively, some also believe that this room was the trophy room of sorts for a serial killer. But
It
the
was
sheer
him.
number of victims makes that highly unlikely, even if it was a group of multiple killers. Then there's also the possibility that Beanbag faked the whole thing to go viral, or that it was an art project of sorts.
That looks
And
way
while he
too
wouldn't be the
much.
first one to try something like this, the remains in the pool were way too real to be fabrications. Beanbag would
Epstein
also
did it?
have to spend tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to commission such a large quantity of props for both videos, all without getting any real return on his investment. So the remains were most likely real. Unfortunately, there's no way for us to determine how they got there. Beanbag stopped uploading in April 2024 and hasn't returned to the internet since. He also never shared the location of the building, so no one else can investigate it either. And as far as I was able to find, the authorities never looked into this, leaving this whole thing unsolved.
So he
possibly
never even
forever.
called them. That's what he did. He never even called them. Beanbag never called them. I'm telling you, he has more to do with it. What was even the meme about that, y'all? Wait.
This meme recounts the tragic life of Ricard Siagan, a 48-year-old tattoo artist from Philadelphia who lost everything he had in a single year. Ricard
What?
had 2 passions in life, his only son and art. He created music, did photography, and eventually settled into a career as a tattoo artist. He also
Okay.
shared videos of his tattoo work on YouTube quite often, likely just to document his own progress. Every second he wasn't working, he spent with his son. He had a seemingly perfect life, and was still striving to do better for the only person in his life. Unfortunately, this perfect life was ripped away from Ricard in 2015. This was the year he moved to Philadelphia and started working there as a tattoo artist. However,
Okay.
months into his new employment, he contracted a urinary tract infection, or UTI for short. The pain was so severe that it made it impossible for him to work. But since his insurance didn't cover UTIs, he couldn't afford to go to a doctor. With no other option,
You just need antibiotics. I understand not being able to afford it, but you just need antibiotics. Why are we acting like this is like really... I mean, I know people have really bad ones, but that sounds a little strange already.
Ricard spoke to his boss about his illness, hoping for help or at least some guidance. And as it turned out, his boss had also gone through a UTI recently. His boss still had some of the antibiotics his doctor prescribed, which he happily handed over to Ricard. Ricard was a bit skeptical at first, but a single dose dramatically reduced his pain. So he kept taking the antibiotics and was
Okay, see, that's not how antibiotics work. One dose of an antibiotic won't reduce your pain. It's supposed to fight off the infection. This is already strange. I feel like this is already a cap one, I'm not gonna lie.
well enough to return to work. But before he could celebrate his recovery, Ricard noticed another major health concern. He was experiencing insomnia, making it difficult for him to sleep each night. Unfortunately, that was only the beginning. The insomnia was getting worse with each passing day. 4 months in, and it became severe enough to prevent him from sleeping altogether. None of the treatments he tried worked, and he was rapidly running out of options. So, in January 2016, he uploaded a video asking for the internet's help, titled, Che fatal insomnia neurotoxin induce, CNS seeking neuroscience hospital support or stem cell hope, where he went over all the disturbing details of his condition.
Antibiotics are not healthy. They don't cause this, I can tell you guys that much. The boss drugged him. What drug could do this? He took 1 dose of it. You stop taking antibiotics. That's the problem. There's no medicine that would just stay like doing this forever.
And also looking forward to sleep, but the activity of the brain is never calmed down. It's been 4 months since my brain is active. It never sleeps. It never.
Cat.
Want to go down, and when my body asks my brain that I need to rest and sleep, there's no connection, but there is a feedback. There is a really painful feedback, physical feedback, and neuron feedback.
This is
Ricard
so
explained his condition as fatal familial insomnia, a devastating neurological.
Why is he describing his own illness? Oh wait, is he there? What is all this? What is all that?
Disorder that essentially locks the brain in a state of permanent wakefulness. It's caused by a genetic mutation that targets the thalamus, the section of the brain responsible for transitioning the mind from consciousness into sleep. What made the already terrible situation even more tragic was that he was also separated from his son. He had to return to Indonesia due to his mother's
Nothing disgusts me more than the bottom of burgers. Crazy time to put that.
hospitalization. But the insomnia now left him bedridden, unable to fly back to his son in Philadelphia. Ricard still wanted to do everything in his power to survive for his son, but the constant unbearable pain was also sapping away his will to live.
I need life. I have my sons in Philadelphia now. I left him. I have no choice. Because I don't want to live.
Okay, well, wait. Why does this start when he had a UTI? I'm so confused.
Him. I need life. I need to survive. I don't want him to lose me. I don't want to lose him.
From there,
Doesn't
Ricard
sound
kept posting
right.
updates.
I think China has to be the most freaky place on Earth. Yeah, China's got some really bad stuff, dude.
On his condition.
The boss could have laced the pills and resealed the bag because they were originally his. Yeah, but there's still no way for this to physically happen with medication. You can't bro, your body naturally reverses itself on anything. You're not going to have a pill that's going to mutate your body permanently. That just doesn't happen unless it kills you. Unless it's like trying to kill you and then like you never fully recover from that. But what do you call? Mutating your thalamus makes no sense. You're not going to be able to mutate your thalamus by one thing.
And even shows what happens anytime he tried to sleep. But here's the thing. Ricard wasn't suffering from fatal familial insomnia because that disease is genetic. It's not something someone can just contract out of nowhere, and no one in his family had this prior to him. Instead, Ricard's neurological issues were the side effects of ciprofloxacin, the antibiotic Ricard took from his boss for his UTI. Ciprofloxacin falls under a type of drug known as fluoroquinolones, and they are incredibly dangerous. Taking them without proper precaution can cause total neurological degradation. Unfortunately, even after knowing what it was, Ricard couldn't do anything, and his condition was getting worse with each passing day. He was starting to get delirious and began posting rants that made little sense.
Conspiracy theory has never been a theory. It's a
Again, the side effects of the medication, guys, can only be within the term of you taking it. If you have a certain medication that you're taking, and you stop taking that medication, you're having a side effect from that. Your side effect will only last most 2 weeks after it. And most of those ones that last 2 weeks are very minor. Unless it sets something off in your system. Like nerves, don't get me wrong. I understand what nerves can have a weird effect on you. Bro, 2,100 likes is crazy, by the way. But again, this is seeming like he took a real side effect that people really get from that thing and they're just transforming it into this big story. If this is a true story, there is something else going on.
Practice.
My articles don't lie.
So the world that created by
And we're not going to listen
starting
to
to
his
die, leaving him
we're not going to listen to his nonsensical something just looks strange about like how he's filming this and stuff.
even more immobilized than before. He received some
Because I mean, obviously he's going to go insane.
hope from a doctor in Beijing who offered a cutting-edge procedure that had previously worked for one patient. However, the procedure's
For one patient. There's no way, dude. This is so fake. Also, he's in the U.S. He can go to a hospital, dude. They're not going to just kick you out of the
cost
hospital.
was beyond what Ricard could afford. And while he did set up a fundraiser, the donations never reached the required amount. And after struggling with his condition for
Yeah, he set up a fundraiser.
over a year, Ricard sadly passed away on the 6th of December 2016 in Indonesia.
In Indonesia. Didn't he live in Philly? Yeah, I'm sure we know if he's alive or not in Indonesia. I'm sure he didn't just completely do that to get money. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm sensing Cap from a mile away. As soon as they said that he was that he took some mysterious antibiotic, I'm like, yeah, this is just garbage.
The traumatized Mr. Incredible in this instance is a reference to the death of Isaiah.
Bro, wait, are these all Mr. Incredible memes, or am I just crazy? The stepmom of the 7-year-old purposely jabbed him with a knife over and over and dumped salt on his wounds for 2 hours. Was he alive?
Gerald,
That's awful. Why would she torture him on top of that? I don't get it. Has it literally been all Mr.
18-year-old
Incredible?
teen from Missouri who lost everything due to an internet argument. The incident happened on April 25th, 2023, when a guy named Tanner Watkins uploaded a new profile picture on Facebook with his girlfriend, to which Isaiah reacted with a laughing reaction.
That's
the
it?
two were friends on Facebook, but it's unclear how close they were.
One
Regardless of their
SpongeBob one?
connection,
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Tanner did not take kindly to Isaiah's reaction and called him out in the post's comments. Their discussion quickly divulged into an argument and ended with the two agreeing to meet each other in person to settle things. The vast majority of internet arguments usually end here, with both sides moving on with their lives. However, both Tanner and Isaiah were serious about this confrontation. After agreeing on the spot and time, they met up at the Rotary Park in Sykeston, and
Are they
unfortunately
stupid?
neither side was open to a discussion. As soon as they got close to each other, both opened fire from their cars. Isaiah was fatally shot seconds after the shootout started and passed away before help could arrive. The 18-year-old girl Isaiah brought with him also received life-threatening injuries. Fortunately,
Bruh.
she managed to pull through after multiple surgeries. As for Tanner, he somehow managed to avoid conviction for the death of Isaiah, though he was eventually sentenced to
Who
7
brought their girl with him?
years in
That's
prison
messed
for an
up.
unrelated shooting in 2025.
Okay, so just loser people. What a lazy day. Okay. This is just too specific, bro. He literally must have made these memes for this video. I'm sorry.
This
Oddly
meme
smells
is
like
about a deadly
almonds.
attack that
If
happened
it smells like almonds, y'all, it's cyanide, I believe. If anything smells like almonds when it's not supposed to smell like almonds, all over a post, what? Yeah, I know. All over him laughing at your post, bro. If someone laughed at my post, even if you call them out, like you just see they're a hater, like just block them. Why were you friends?
in Chicago in 1982 regarding Tylenol pain relief capsules. On the morning of September
It must be cyanide, bro.
29,
I think it's
a
cyanide.
12-year-old girl named Mary Kellerman took a capsule of extra-strength Tylenol to soothe a sore throat. But instead of feeling relief, she collapsed and passed away shortly after. That same day, a 27-year-old postal worker named Adam Janis also took Tylenol for his headache. Seconds later, he suffered what appeared to be a heart attack and tragically passed away,
Hello?
while his family
I'm sorry to bother you. Can you make me better food the nighttime one?
Okay. Are you up here?
Yeah. Can you just bring it up?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Very well.
gathered to mourn his death. His brother Stanley and sister
Guys, we're gonna have to end
Teresa
stream
each
after
took
this.
Tylenol
Almond scent is cyanide? It is cyanide, right?
from the same
I
bottle.
thought it was something else too. I thought there's another drug in it. Is that? No, that's my mother.
Adam had used. Within hours, those two were dead as well.
My mother and my dad have the flu, so I gotta go make up some flu medication.
By the time the connection was made,
not looking forward to getting the flu, but we all know what's gonna happen.
3 more people, including 27-year-old Mary Reiner,
I gotta stream after
31-year-old
this,
Mary
guys.
McFarland, and 35-year-old Paula Prince had also lost their lives. Testing revealed that the Tylenol capsules they had consumed were laced with potassium cyanide, one of the deadliest poisons in the world. And since the victims were spread across different suburbs, investigators quickly realized this wasn't a manufacturing error. Someone had gone into local grocery stores and pharmacies, pulled bottles off the shelves, laced the capsules with poison, and put them back to be purchased by unsuspecting strangers. Investigators had no way of knowing how many other poison bottles were still on the shelf. So, in an unprecedented move, the makers of Tylenol, Johnson & Johnson, stepped forward. They issued a nationwide recall of approximately 31 million bottles, a value of over $100 million at the time. Authorities also urged the public not to take any Tylenol.
Okay, this is control to not get sued, y'all. No lie. Like, that's why they're doing this so severely. But actually, hats off to Johnson & Johnson for doing that. Other companies, now who knows? Will they just put those back in circulation? I don't know. Will they test them and then put them back in circulation? I don't know. Will they send those to poorer countries? I don't know. But doesn't say. Just saying. Does it seem like they're doing that? No. It seems like they're actually doing the right thing, which is just so bad with certain companies.
Product, and for good reason. In the early 1980s, over-the-counter medicine was sold in simple bottles with easy-to-open caps. There were no plastic neck seals, no foil liners, and no tamper-evidence stickers.
Yeah, my parents are...
the realization that a
extremely
complete
nice.
stranger could turn a common household item
That's
into
so
a weapon.
sad, yeah. You know what? That is one thing. They used to only do it on medicine, though. I think after this, or after something like this happened, and then they only put seals on that, and then they started sealing everything, because who wants the fact that people could just put something in there?
Of mass murder changed this mindset overnight. In response to the tragedy, the FDA introduced stringent new regulations. Within 6 months, Tylenol returned to shelves in the first ever triple seal packaging. This included a glued outer box, a plastic wrap around the cap, and a foil seal over the mouth of the bottle. However, even this was not a perfect solution. In the months and years following the attack, police stations across the US were flooded with hundreds of copycat reports. And while many of these were hoaxes, some turned out to be legit. Like in 1986, when 23-year-old Diane Ellsroth died after taking a Tylenol capsule laced with cyanide in New York. That same year, another medication named Excedrin was targeted in Washington state, leading to 2 more deaths. These attacks forced the pharma industry to evolve this packaging further and make poisoning more difficult. However, while the attack led to an overall positive change,
How did they
the
evolve
original
it?
7 victims never received the justice they deserved. Despite a massive investigation, a $100,000 reward for information, and several suspects, no one was ever charged with the actual murders. One of the suspects, named James Lewis, actually contacted Johnson & Johnson, claiming he would stop the killings if they sent him $1 million in ransom.
And he didn't do it? You're telling me this guy didn't do it?
But investigation revealed that he had nothing to do with the actual attack. He was just trying to take advantage of an already tragic situation. The most popular theory is that this attack was carried out by one of Johnson & Johnson's competitors to ruin their reputation, which makes a lot of sense considering Tylenol's market share dropped from 35% to 8% following the incident. That said,
Yeah, they were probably doing some cleanup control, but just saying, guys, don't know if this is something to do with a competitor. It sounds pretty stupid to say something like that. Seems like a murderer. Although they did a nationwide recall, I own those. They did do a lot more to stop that type of thing. Y'all, it's always good to just give your stuff just a little check for like a little tiny hole. Like if it's enough for a needle to get into it, just give it a smell. If you feel a weird substance on something that you're not used to a substance being on there, like anything wet, weird feeling on it, maybe it's good not to take it. It's always good to just give it a check.
could still have been the work of a deranged serial killer intent on claiming as many lives as possible. Unfortunately, investigators found no solid clues like fingerprints or CCTV footage that could help us confirm or deny these theories.
Alright, y'all. I gotta end the stream. Gonna make my mom some medicine. We'll get into this probably next time. Sorry to cut the stream short, but I think we got a little bit done today. It was pretty good. At least you called towards the end of the video. Y'all catch you tomorrow at 5:30. Appreciate W stream. Lithium, have you been in here before you go? Have you been in here before? Are you somebody I know and I just don't know your name by Lithium Batteries? Yeah, bye-bye, everybody. Oh, okay, you haven't been in here? I appreciate you tuning in. You just said something like a SpongeBob analog horror or something like that, and I was like, oh, I have played one of those on stream. I think I played like at least one or two of them. But all right, I appreciate you tuning in. Tomorrow I'll be streaming at 5:30 PST time. So right now it's 7:30. Just do the math of whatever time that is on your end, y'all. Appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, check out the YouTube channel, A Trusty Cat YouTube. Like and subscribe. Appreciate